Alright, I'm officially 1 month into this game. I'm now level 45. And I've had a lot of questions that have come up on how I've been able to get characters so quickly, how I've been able to move through as quickly. And I wanted to share some of the things that I've done. Now there were I certainly got lucky early on. I got Igorok right away and that was nice. But I now have all but 4 of the heroes. Shortly I'll have even more. I've got another gem roll video coming up. You can see that 2,700 gems. So I'll have one more of those. There's a guaranteed one you get if you do 2,700 gem rolls together. So there's a lot of things that I've done to try to move myself through as quickly as possible, and I want to share some of those things today in this video. We're going to talk about getting gold, tokens, gems, and levels as quickly as possible, and so that'll be kind of the topics. So getting started, gold. Gold's kind of a limiting resource for upgrading your characters, and in the beginning it can be really scarce, especially if you're trying to upgrade a lot of them. One of the keys is that you need to minimize the number of heroes that you're working with. So you cannot keep all of your heroes leveled up. If you see here, I've got six heroes at full level, and then it kind of goes down from there. I've got some others that I use periodically that I'm trying to keep close, and when I get to the level cap, then I'll try to raise them the rest of the way up, and I can use them in different groups and parties then. And then quite a few of these heroes that are much lower level, I don't use them for a whole lot. You just can't keep them all up. So one of the first things is just to put your resources in a core team, and that's going to be somewhere between 6 and 8 originally. Probably narrows down to about 6. Experience ends up becoming the limiting factor. Here are the 4 heroes that I don't have yet. Here, Phenol is actually farmable, but Archangel Emily and Alexandros are not farmable. You can only get them from the gem rolls, and Julius you can only get from making it to a certain VIP level, which means spending a fair amount of money to get him. One of the things I wanted to do with this game, and again with the videos that I'm putting out, I don't want to spend a ton of gems and just change the game entirely. It wouldn't be that helpful to viewers of the videos, so I'm kind of self-limiting. First of all, I don't want to spend all that much money in general, but I want the videos to be relevant to the same kind of uses that other people would be going through. So I've done the $3 gem purchase. I've mentioned that before. For $3 you can get this 50 gems daily for 30 days. This is actually how I know I'm at the 30-day mark. I started at about 2 days in, and it's got 2 days left now, so that's pretty cheap, $3 so far. I probably will up that and do it again for another $3. I think that's fairly reasonable price for this. Really, I've had a lot of fun over this past month with this game. It's a great game. It's really been very enjoyable. So back to our purpose. For gold, first thing, limit the amount of characters you're using to level up. Now the second thing is, you're going to end up getting a lot of gold from your quests, both the daily quests and the overall kind of, as you level up, you'll hit these different marks of spending a certain amount of gold or obtaining a certain rank, and you can see you get big chunks of gold from that. So in that way, it'll kind of naturally move up, and if you're only spending it on 6 to 8 heroes, then you'll be in pretty decent shape. The next thing I would say, beyond that, there are 2 things you can do. You can purchase in the store, and they're gone for me, but they'll show up for you if you haven't purchased them yet, where you can purchase gold, a whole lot of it, for very few gems. I don't remember the exact amount, but you can get, I think, collectively something like 400,000 gold or maybe more for just a few gems. It's a one-time thing. I would recommend go ahead and do that. It's a nice boost when you're an early level. So do that. That'll put you in a good position to start off with. And then the events. The events make a huge difference. So right now we've currently got one that's finishing up. Balog Returns. I was able during this event to finish. I got him during the last Balog event. And then during this event I was able to get him up to 5 stars, which is great. Another benefit from that, though, is that these event dungeons give a lot more gold. So I was pulling in like 8,000, 9,000 gold on average every dungeon that I was doing, and I basically just dropped everything and ran this dungeon all weekend. So that pulled in an enormous amount of gold, and when you have those events, then that kind of tops you off for the next round of leveling everyone up. So I would say those are the best ways overall to bring in a lot of gold. As I mentioned, gems early on, use those, do the specials, it's fine, they don't cost very much. You can, cover it with the gems you get from other quests and things like that. And then make sure that, I would say generally any time that there's one of those weekend events where you can get a character, there's other things going on, drop all other leveling, everything you're doing, progressing through the campaign, and just run the event all weekend. Usually they make the rewards good enough that it's just worthwhile to do that. Alright, the next one, tokens. The best thing you can do for tokens is just running the campaign map over and over again. And I would say that combined with, if they have those events, especially the Cruel King Bramble events, because I think he's significantly more useful in a party than Balog actually is. If you can run those, it's completely possible for very low level characters or players. You could be level 20 or something like that. You can get a 5-star event character, and that's very powerful to have going through the game. So tokens that way, and then going through the campaign map. And that brings up another really important point. You have to make a decision at some point. You don't have to necessarily, but it certainly helps with your progress in the game. You either need to decide if you want to be the strongest possible character, the highest level that you want to be, or the strongest for your level. And so those are two very different things. So the route I've chosen is to try to get as high a level as quickly as possible. I'd like to hit that level cap as fast as possible. But that means now that I'm about level 45, I'm not nearly as strong of a level 45 player as I could have been if I had slowed this process down. Now the biggest thing that you've got to do to change that has to do with these daily quests. Daily quests are the key to a lot of this, actually. In the daily quest, you usually have about 8 daily quests, and a lot of them are the same every time. So 2 that show up in here, you always get this PvP raids. You get one for collecting gold twice. You get 2 that are related to leveling up your characters. One is to do leveling them up with their levels, another is to level up their skills. And they're huge XP bonuses. So those XP bonuses are basically what drives your leveling. Here you can see I have 1,100 experience into the next level. If I just do that by running campaign maps, those dungeons at 5 experience a time, it takes a long time. So the way to speed this up is to do those daily quests. But if you don't want to speed up your overall leveling because you want to have 3 and 4-star characters earlier in the game, then don't do those quests. I mean, you'll pull in something like 350-ish experience every day from about 4 of those quests, and they don't give that much gold or anything else. So really the main property of those quests, those daily quests, are to increase your overall account level. If you don't do that, so if you do it, then you level up relatively quickly. Here it still takes me, I would say, 2 to 3 days to get each next level. If I wasn't doing those daily quests, it would take more like 5, 6, or 7 days to get to the next level. And you might say, well, why would you want to do that? There's a good reason. If you go in and see your heroes, for all of them that have farmable tokens, like Tsumi here, I still have him at 2-star at level 45. And part of that's because I got a late start on him generally, but part of it is because I've been doing that kind of power leveling up as fast as possible. If you didn't do that, you could collect these for a lot more days, and by the time I got to level 45, he would likely be at least a 4-star, and I would be a stronger level 45 player than I am right now, but it might have taken me 2 months to get there. So it depends what kind of player, what kind of account you want to have. Again, I'm trying to rush to the level cap. Rush to 61. I'll be stronger in the end, and that'll be fine. But for some people, that journey is more fun. So you got to make that decision. And what that really affects is your PvP. You know, a lot of this game, eventually we're all going to be done. Either you give up on the game or you'll be done with the campaign. And then all that's going to be left are the events and these the PvP dungeon raiding. We just started a new tournament run here, so there's not too much history. I guess I was going to look at the other. You'll see some of the attacks. Again, doing all right here, but I'm not as strong as I was, say, 25 levels ago. My characters were stronger in comparison to other players then than they are now. I'm just not able to get, for one, getting the 3-star and 4-star characters. I still have some that are 2-star, or they just became 3-star. And I would be stronger. I'd win more of those battles if I had gone the slow route. Now that said, it's going to be less time for me to get up to that maximum level. So those are the two decisions. I think you need to decide which way you want to go, and that determines what you're going to do with quests. You could make a very good argument for just ignoring the experience quests in there, leaving them alone, and more slowly leveling your account. Alright, another thing I wanted to mention on quests is this day trading. I would argue that this is not worthwhile, that 25 gems is not a good trade for a great summon, which is usually very poor reward, and 40 scrolls. 40 scrolls times 10, you're going to get almost one of the... Let's go to the portal, see what I'm talking about. So if you go here, if you did that quest 10 times, you'd spend 250 gems. You'd be almost enough to do a heroic summons. If you did it 10 times, you'd have 400 of these scrolls. You'd be almost high enough to do an honor summons. You know, say roughly here. But a heroic summon is so much more valuable than an honor summons. You end up getting quite a few scrolls. I've put out a couple videos now where I've rolled, I think collectively, something like 40 times. The last video alone was 24 rolls. So within a month, you know, you're rolling more than every day for that. But heroic rolls are much less common. So I would say, even though it's a quest, it feels like you're getting a reward. You're not getting a reward. It's a bad trade. Don't do it. Save your gems up for something that's more useful. Another thing gems can be good for are finishing off. If you get really close and say you're looking at Cruel King Bramble, you've almost got enough to get him to the next star level. You're during an event. You're trying to farm for him. Use them for that. Don't use them for that quest especially. Try to conserve and get them up to that 2700 mark. A lot of what I've done to move this along is try to find those things in the game where you can use the most effective use of your resources. Alright, so that's basically tokens as well. Again, getting your star level increased for each of your characters, that's where all that grinding and farming is going to go in the campaign. And it doesn't matter too much if you're trying to raise the star level for a character. Looking at Tasumi here, and I've done some for him even today. I'll go right down all of the levels. And here, I waited for this last one. I need to use my higher level team, and they were right about to transition levels, so I held off until I got the next level up. But you'll just go right down the list for your top characters. Do your core team first, and then you can extend down to other people that are other characters that you enjoy and you could see using before too long. Alright, we mentioned, again, the gems. Those quests that I talked about that are kind of optional, the ones that give you a lot of experience, they generally don't give you gems. So the game makers they made it easy on you. You can decide, you're getting these hammers, it's not all that valuable if you're going to do things like this. You could skip these, just get the, and then, you miss out on the experience, you miss out on the hammers, but that's alright. You'd keep your account growing slowly. But the other ones, the ones that change up every day, like this Bone Collector, this Dungeon Defiler, that's where you can get some more gems as well. So you can collect the gems there. As you're going through the campaign, the first time you beat each map, you're going to get gems then, which means as you make quick progress during the first, I'd say, 25 levels of the game, getting up to about level 25, you pull in a lot of gems, and you can get to 2700 without too much trouble. Once you hit that 25 to 30 range, your progress slows significantly. and you're not pulling in many gems from that source anymore. Then you've got to kind of just count on those quests, and if you're willing, get some gems from making a purchase. And again, strong advocate here on just the $3 one. You get, so that's 1,500 gems. You can compare that to, it's more than the $10 one-time offer right there that you're going to get in. You just got to be a little bit more patient. A lot of these games reward patience, reward you working over time rather than trying to rush your account. Rushing your account costs a lot of real money. If you don't want to do that, just take the regular route and slow it down, and usually the games work out really well that way. Alright, we've gone over gold, we've gone over tokens, we've gone over gems, and levels. So I think that's most of what I wanted to share. If you have any specific questions, I would say try to avoid anyone that tries to tell you that there's a hack to get gems or anything else. If you like the game, don't look for that stuff anyway. We've got to, give them support, whether it's in viewing advertisements they put up or making a small purchase. There's nothing wrong with that. They're adding a lot of value for us. We're enjoying this game. So don't try to find hacks. That would be my suggestion. And then just keep making that progress. The higher level you get, the larger your energy cap. So I'm at 64 now. I'm looking at this one. And the nice thing with that, it's a 6-minute cooldown to get your next energy, which means every 10 represents an hour. So again, the nicer thing, once you get to higher levels, now I'm at almost 6.5 hours. So that's great. That means if I finish up playing at the end of the night, I go to bed and get a reasonable amount of sleep. That's just about the time I'd get up. 6.5, 7 hours, something like that. When you max out your levels, it's going to be about an 8-hour amount of energy, which again means you can do your day job, you can go to school, you can do whatever you're doing. You're not missing out on making any progress in the game. And that helps out a little bit too. You don't have to worry about trying to juggle things. So that's all I really have to share. If there's any specific questions on anything else, please let me know. I'd be happy to put out some more videos and answer any questions. Thanks again for watching.